Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Chase Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to talk to Adam Rittenburg of ESPN coming up momentarily. We're going to talk some college football, but we do have some breaking Jazz news. We won't make Christian play the sounder this time. The representative at the lottery, Ben, is going to be Keontae George.
Yeah. I think this is a good sign for the Jazz. Now, he's not lucky. It doesn't mean anything there. But Keontae has a lot of buy-in. And I've told you, Larry Markkinen's pretty internalized. He's not an extrovert. He's an introvert. And the Jazz need some personalities that lead the locker room. And Keontae has a ton of it. And I think it's actually a really positive personality. So.
Well, he probably can hold a smile if things go wrong.
Uh-huh. He's a walking smile. Certainly now he is. That wasn't always the case his first 2 years.
All right, let's talk some college football. Joining us now, he covers college football for ESPN. He and a couple other writers have a great piece out for you college football nerds, ranking everybody's offseason in the P4. Adam Rittenburg is with us here on Jake and Ben. Hi, Adam.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We're doing terrific. Extensive work here. A ton of coverage and movement and who landed where and who did well. I guess what were you looking for when you were establishing your criteria before we offend some listeners with what the results were?
Well, we did this last year, just because of the off season, because you got transfer portal, you have coaching changes, guys that go to the NFL, it's still high school recruiting. Last year we had 2 portals. Now we have 1. And it's just so important because we've seen teams, turn their fortunes around or go the wrong way based on how they perform in the off season. So, how much we weight one of the criteria over another. I think some of that's personal preference, but we talk it through with, myself and Eli Letterman and Max Olson. But, certainly the transfer portal, how you did in terms of who you gained and who you lost is important. The coaching staff continuity is a big one for me. I tend to look at, even situations where you could say, well, you upgraded your head coach. That's still a disruption, and oftentimes you don't have success, immediately when that happens. And so, NFL retention, are you able to keep guys that maybe could have gone on to the NFL draft and instead are choosing to come back to your school, or do you have kind of an exodus of guys to the NFL? So all of that goes into determining who goes where in terms of these off-season rankings.
Focusing on the Big 12, Texas Tech obviously is a juggernaut. They're rolling in dough, and they come in at number 1 as far as the conference goes in your guys' off-season ratings. Is that change at all depending on the future of Brendan Sorsby?
Well, it didn't. I mean, we talked about that certainly, and candidly, we had Texas Tech higher in our national rankings before the Sorsby injury, came to light. And it's a concern, right? I mean, that's a guy you brought in to lead your offense and to be an upgrade over Baron Morton, who dealt with injuries throughout his career, still a 7th-round draft pick in this last draft. But we felt that, because of the continuity on the coaching staff, Joey McGuire, keeping his primary coordinators and just replacing a few position coaches, still a really good year in the portal in terms of who they were able to add, to fill in some of the gaps lost to the NFL, that it was still a team that did enough to be ranked first in the Big 12. But, we obviously looked at the Sorsby situation and shuffled some things around from a national order, but really not a Big 12 order.
Adam, still find myself at times in an old school perspective on the transfer portal where a lot of times a guy was, you'd get 1 or 2 transfers in the offseason. It wasn't 40 guys. It wasn't 25 guys. And it certainly wasn't a lot of players stepping in to start right away, where I kind of feel like every transfer is still 50-50 at best. And clearly that is no longer the case. There are teams that are basically, I don't want to say a team of mercenaries, but Texas Tech brings in all these not random dudes, but, 1-year guys, 2-year guys, and they step in and it immediately makes a difference. Are we getting safer with the transfer portal? Do you think teams are getting sharper with who they're bringing in?
I think so. And, some of it's just the market tells you who the impact players are. It doesn't mean that all the impact players are going to, or that everyone you pay a lot of money for is going to make the desired impact. But you look at Texas Tech and their approach towards the defensive line. I was actually talking with Joey McGuire, their head coach, about this before the draft. It wasn't like they signed a bunch of no doubt first round picks on the defensive line. They signed players who commanded a lot in the portal, and there was a lot of hope. But the way that defensive line came together, led by David Bailey, the number 2 overall pick, I mean, that was just a fabulous job of investment and evaluation and then coaching them up. And so I think they feel pretty good about their eye, for certain positions. And, unfortunately for them, listen, I felt the quarterback was a weakness for them all year and something that would hold them back in the playoff. And lo and behold, they get shut out in their first playoff game. And so they go out and add Brendan Sorsby, and maybe they could have had Sam Levitt, maybe they could have had Josh Hoover, one of these other quarterbacks who goes to a contending team. They end up with a guy who, again, given my experience covering the wagering situation in the state of Iowa involving Iowa and Iowa State athletes, I see no way that Brendan Sorsby takes a snap for Texas Tech. I know Jeffrey Kessler is a great attorney and maybe he works some magic, but I don't think he's playing for them this year.
Of course, we want to talk to you about our local schools here. Let's talk about BYU. What did you think about their offseason?
Really good. And I was out there a few weeks ago with both BYU and Utah, and was speaking with Kalani, and he's like, "Hey, we had a great offseason." He's right. And listen, it starts with himself. It starts with the fact that Kalani Sitake is still the head coach at BYU, when it looked there for a few days like he was out the door to Penn State. And yeah, you lose Jay Hill, but the core of that staff is remaining. Aaron Roderick at offensive coordinator. You keep Bear Bachmeier, who they told me a lot of teams are coming after Bear this offseason. You keep LJ Martin, the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, one of the nation's best running backs. And then you upgraded in the portal, adding a guy like Kedu Olave from Cal, who's a great fit there. Talking to him, one of these guys, you're like, how did you not end up at BYU in the first place? Well, he's there now, and to really help a defense that is going through a little bit of transition. So, it wasn't a perfect offseason, but I think in terms of retention and continuity, they really did excel in some of those key areas that we use to evaluate teams.
If you look historically, BYU, one of their big jumps, other than when Kalani got there, was Jay Hill moved from being the head coach at Weber State to being their defensive coordinator, and they really took a major step forward. He departs with Kyle Whittingham for Michigan, so both teams in our state at the P4 level lost major talent in the coaching ranks. What do you make of a loss of a guy like Jay Hill, who is going to a major program in Michigan?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a loss, and Jay's really good at what he does, and Kyle wouldn't have brought him over to Michigan as his defensive coordinator to oversee a unit that has really been strong and could be strong again here this coming season. And so I think it does speak to just how talented he is as a defensive play caller, as a developer of talent. That a rival coach, even though everybody in Utah seems to know each other pretty well in the football coaching community, that a coach at another school says, "Hey, I want you. Obviously I can't take Morgan Scalley with me. I'm going to take Jay Hill from BYU to be my defensive coordinator at Michigan."
All right, let's switch gears to the Utes. And you said, in your evaluation of all these teams, you valued coaching continuity. Obviously, that's the big story with Utah. So how did that affect their offseason, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, in a sense, they have continuity with Morgan Scalley, who's been there for so long, and we knew he was going to be the head coach. This isn't a surprise. But it's also a disruption because Kyle Whittingham is no longer the head coach, and their strength coach is gone, and Jim Harding, who one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, is no longer there. And so that's a concern, at least on the surface, until we see how Utah handles it. But they retain Devin Dampier, they retain some other backup quarterback who's certainly in demand. Who probably could have left for more money in Bert Ficklin. They retain their running back room. They retain some good players on the defensive side, and you're getting a chance to see them practice. I think that's going to be a good football team. But it is a bit of an unknown when you replace a Hall of Fame coach who's been there so long, who had done it a certain way and successfully for as long as Kyle did. I think it's fair to at least be curious about the effect of all that.
And they have two guys who, whether it's, I don't say spending time in the pocket because they want to break out and run. They are runners. But Utah lost two offensive linemen to the first round. I mean, those were two major pieces of Utah's attack last year.
Right, and it's a new look offensive line. That's a position historically where Utah has thrived, and there's a chance that they could thrive again. But new offensive line coach who everyone's really excited about, but still his first time kind of in this premier role at a power school, and then so many new linemen that are moving into starting roles. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that shakes out, because as talented as Devin and Bird are in terms of moving around, you've got to protect for them. You've got to block for Wayshawn and that running back room, and create opportunities to attack downfield. I know that Kevin McGivern, that's what we talked about, that he really feels that there's opportunities to improve in terms of the passing game and the explosive passing game, but that all starts up front. So yeah, if I were to put together a list, and I might at some point, of just position groups to watch this season around the country that could factor into league races and playoff races, Utah's offensive line is right up there.
Monitoring the player movement like you would have to write this, are there any overall patterns that you've noticed? For example, are the top two conferences with all the money pulling away, or are there more maybe Texas Techs that are somehow found the big time donors that are grabbing more players? Did you notice really any patterns?
Well, I think if you're not in the Big Ten and the SEC, and not every Big Ten and SEC school is the same, but if you're not in those two conferences, you have to have significant donor support in order to hold on to your best players and also add. It's one thing to protect, but in this environment, you have to add valuable pieces to make your roster better. And two examples of that were playoff teams last year: Texas Tech in the Big 12, Miami in the ACC. But in talking to Kalani and Morgan and the folks at both of those schools, Brian Santiago and Mark Harlan at Utah, they feel like they have the support necessary to maintain and enhance their rosters going forward as Big 12 schools. So that's going to be really important, because the Big Ten and SEC schools are certainly aware of what's going on in the Big 12 and the ACC, and when opportunities arise to pluck some of their better players with deep pockets, they're not going to be bashful about it. So I think it's those. Let's face it; those conferences are going to have less money from a revenue standpoint. So how does your donor base look? How are your other revenue streams look to be able to keep up with a random school in the SEC or Big Ten that just has a lot more revenue?
Adam, I'm curious. I'm trying to find the article. I apologize. I should have done this earlier. Of your last year's ranking, because you discussed how you did it last season. Where did Indiana rank? And the reason I ask is because should we expect the team that has the best offseason to be serious competitors or in competition to win the national title every year? Like, do you think there's going to be that much kind of a direct result of who wins in the regular season based off who had a good offseason?
Well, I think it's certainly predictive. I'm just going back to last year's. I don't have it in the car right now as well, but I don't have it up with me right now. I think we were encouraged by Indiana's ability to keep its staff together last year, coming off of a playoff appearance that no one thought was possible. Normally a school like Indiana would get rated, and the only assistant that left went to become an offensive coordinator, and Tino Sinceri, ironically, he's back now, replacing the only assistant who left from this year's team. Indiana's portal coming off of the first playoff team was strong. I don't think it was as strong as this year's portal. But again, Fernando Mendoza was part of that last transfer class, and he's the Heisman Trophy winner and the number 1 overall draft pick. And so I just think Indiana, the story there, which is so interesting and impressive, is that they weren't willing to just have one great season. They have been working tirelessly to become a national power, which again, a few years ago wasn't really possible. Now it is, because of the portal, because of who they hired as the head coach, and because they have this donor base and these revenue sources that, quite frankly, I didn't even know about as someone who's covered Indiana and the Big Ten for many years. Indiana has that that financial juice, so to speak, and it just needed a reason. And obviously, Kurt Signetti has provided that reason. But I don't think Indiana was in our national top 10 a year ago, but was certainly looked at as having a really good offseason, hoping to follow up on that first playoff appearance, and they obviously did with an undefeated season and a national championship.
What do you think about Witt talking about $50 million rosters?
That Witt's brought that up? Yeah. I mean,
what do you think about that number? I mean, are things just spinning out of control, or is this, I mean, I don't know. I never thought we'd be in this territory.
Yes, things are spinning out of control.
I never thought we'd be here.
Yeah, but Indiana didn't have the most money last year, and they won. It's still about your evaluation and your coaching and you're being able to retain players. I think, again, spending to retain is a little different in my mind than spending to spend or spending solely on outside players. I mean, Texas Tech was maybe more of the latter, but they were also able to keep some pretty good players from their 2024 team that were part of last year's run. Jacob Rodriguez, maybe the most obvious example of that, who won all the National Defensive Player of the Year awards. So, coaches love to complain about that stuff, how it's not even, how it's out of control. How are we gonna wake up tomorrow? Well, you got to still coach your team. You got to scout. You got to develop. And Indiana has done that better than anyone. You're going down there a few weeks ago to visit. They are so on top of their roster and figuring things out, and everybody in that building is kind of pulling in the same direction. Not surprising after a national championship, but they have all elements of their program rolling. It's not just about the money.
Looking at the rest of the Big 12, going into last season, I think even though Utah was coming off of a very down year, there was some belief that with the offense they'd added and the players they'd brought in, that the Big 12 was going to be BYU, Utah, and Texas Tech because of their offseason additions as well, and that bore out. Those were the three best teams in the Big 12 last year. What do you expect this year from the Big 12? Texas Tech, BYU, obviously very good. Who do you think gets into that group of the top three, top four?
Yeah, I think those are probably the top two I have going into the season. And then I think you have a group of three or four that are fascinating to me, Utah being one of them. But two teams that I heard a lot about, from the coaches at Utah, BYU, but also others that I've talked to around the conference are Arizona and Houston. Arizona, what they did last year to turn things around, and then you bring back, one of the more accomplished quarterbacks in college football, Noah Fafita. They have a defense. I visited there as well on that trip, and Danny Gonzalez, their defensive coordinator, thinks they can be a top 10 defense, top 15 defense, which we haven't seen it out at Arizona for some time. And if that's the case, they're going to be a contending team in the Big 12. And then Houston, kind of quietly wins 10 games. And this is what Willie Fritz does. Did it at Tulane. He's done it everywhere else in his career that he ends up winning. And you look at their retention. You look at bringing back their quarterback and who they were able to add in the portal and their recruiting. Their staff retention. There's a lot of really good things happening at Houston. So to me, it's those five, maybe with TCU getting in the mix, and then we'll see. There's a lot of wild cards in the Big 12, but I would not sleep on Arizona if I'm a BYU or Utah fan.
Man, judging by your guys' evaluation, Iowa State is in rough shape after losing Matt Campbell.
Man. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's they have such great fans, and I don't like to pile on, but if we were doing a national 1 through 68 ranking, guys, of worst off seasons, they're probably at or near the bottom. I mean, maybe Stanford didn't have a great offseason. I thought you can make some case for other, but it was pretty. Again, I think the guy they hired from Washington State, Jimmy Rogers, is a good coach, and he's brought in some players, but they lost pretty much anyone who's ever done anything there from the roster standpoint, going to Penn State or elsewhere, or going on to the NFL. So, unfortunately for Iowa State, it looking like a pretty big step backward this season.
On the flip side, Michigan it didn't get the guy they were seeking right away, it didn't seem like, in replacing Sharon Moore. But Kyle Wingham, as you mentioned, is a Hall of Famer. I was a big believer in what Witt was doing here at the University of Utah. Hard to bet. He was over 500 every year, his career, it seemed like. But what do you think of Michigan? What do you think? What do you expect out of them this season?
He's such a steady. I actually spoke to Kyle earlier today about one of their players. He's just he's the same guy every time he picks up the phone and he's evaluating a player or he's evaluating, part of his team. And I think that steadiness is really going to help. a Michigan program that's really been through it as far as turmoil and controversy the last few years, which, again, includes a national championship, but let's call it what it is. The roster-wise, again, not to be cliche here, but a lot depends on Bryce Underwood, who, wasn't maybe at expectation last year as the nation's number one recruit. Jason Beck takes over. Jason had great success with Devin Dampier, but Devin's a very different quarterback than Bryce. And so that, to me, is it. Like, they're going to be good on defense. They're going to be good on special teams. I don't think they did enough at wide receiver, personally, or tight end to give Bryce enough to truly take that next step as a passer. But I think they're going to run the ball, and I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat. Their schedule is not easy, guys. They need to win some of their home games because there just are some really difficult opponents that they have, starting with that early game against an Oklahoma team that beat them last year in Norman, and that their coach, Brent Venables, think will be even better this year.
Adam, it's very nice on a 4-hour show to take a little break to talk some off-season college football. Your guys' work there with all the off-season moves is just tremendous. So thank you very much for jumping on with us.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, enjoyed it, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Adam. Adam Rittenburg, and we'll get some links out on the Talk Snap to his piece here. He partnered with Eli Letterman and Max Olson, and they evaluated all the off seasons for all the P4 teams. Really, really good stuff.
I honestly, because it's been such a crazy news cycle this offseason, almost forget that Kalani was gone to Penn State. I know you were out of town, I think, when that story was going on, because you leave me with a lot of juicy stories. It's very nice of you.
You leave me with a dry desert of nothing.
Or horrendous stories. But
or
really tough
assault
stories.
Scandals.
Yeah. But man, that was done. That was a done deal, and then it didn't come together. And then Michigan sought seemingly 4 or 5 other coaches before they landed with Witt, and then that came together so quickly after Witt was leaving Utah, and then took so much of the staff. So I'm excited to watch all of those teams this offseason. This season.
Did you see that your guy Sharon Moore kept Marcus Freeman off of SNL?
I didn't.
No? What's his name? Michael Shea? I don't really watch that show, but he's the host of Weekend Update.
Yeah.
So he basically had it all lined up that Marcus Freeman, the head coach at Notre Dame, was going to make, they'll have those temporary celebrity appearances on Weekend Update.
Yeah, cameo.
He was all ready to go. Apparently Lorne Michaels was on board. They were writing the stuff. He was coming in. 3 days before he was to do it is when Sharon spun out. And all of a sudden, the Michigan coach became the biggest sports story in the world. And you can't have Marcus Freeman going on Weekend Update and making jokes about it, nor could they have him ignore it. Notre Dame wouldn't be the biggest,
Plus, he was rumored to be in the running for the Michigan job. So the other issues there,
So Sharon not only spun out and probably ruined his marriage, although we don't have an update on that.
But that could have been
got himself arrested.
Big break.
It could have been. He
finally could have been somebody.
He could be in Happy Gilmore 3 right now.
If he had done a great job. Witt team not having receivers, according to Adam Rittenburg. Big news.
Hey,
breaking.
Guess what? They're not going to have an offense.
They had a decent offense last year. Receivers, they did not.
They had a different coach last year. They're going to have a crappy offense, I assure you.
It's the coach that Utah had last year. Is now in Michigan, the coordinator. Mm-hmm. So, and he did good here. I thought he did well in Salt Lake.
Receivers didn't.
Receivers did not.
The throwing game overall did not.
No.
The one half of the offense, they were pretty good, and it happens to be the half of the offense that Witt likes.
Yeah.
And they were a little bit on the gimmicky side.
Yeah. The offense will produce some. It's not going to be that dynamic. And there's going to be complaints from Michigan fans.
Protect the defense, Ben.
Yeah. Don't turn the ball over.
Oh, or else. Look out. You may be paying that running back $5 million. Witt will sit him down.
Well, admittedly, I cannot wait to watch Michigan football next year. Good or bad, I don't. It's the story that keeps on giving.
Are Ute fans rooting for or against him?
Against him.
You think?
Took a lot of players, took a lot of coaches. Yeah.
You don't think there are Ute fans that are...
The athletic director came out and blasted a recruit that transferred.
Yeah, but that's the athletic director. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some Ute fans who are grumpy
there are some diehards.
with how it happened.
There are some diehards.
That's why I asked the question. I don't think it's a layup that they're rooting against him necessarily.
No, there will always be a couple that follow. I'm not going to paint with the broadest brush saying nobody.
I don't think it's about the following. I don't actually think it's about the Witt love necessarily. I think it's about how the disapproval with the Witt divorce.
With the process.
I think there are a bunch of fans that believe that Witt was a good enough coach that he should have been able to write his own ticket.
Myself included, though I would take the fan out of it, but I think Witt was that good of a coach.
I don't.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair.
I mean, I don't necessarily think moving on from him at that moment in time, I don't know if the right move, but I don't know if he was good enough to write his own ticket. Just demand what his salary was going to be and how he was going to stay and dictate it all. Obviously, Utah disagreed.
The good people at Ocho Capital disagreed.
I do think there are people, though, that think he should not have gone out like that.
Mm-hmm. And count me among them.
Like and that? You are probably rooting for Witt at Michigan.
No, I just can't wait to cover the story. I don't care. Losses, great. Do you know how much time we're going to get out of that? Wins, great. Do you know how much time we're going to get out of that?
Okay, sorry. People like you, who feel...
Not people like me.
I'm trying to say who feel like Witt could have written his own ticket, which you said you admittedly were.
Agreed.
Are pulling for Witt at Michigan.
Yeah. Makes you look like you were right.
Right. All right, stay tuned. What you got Wednesday? Coming up next, Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What you got Wednesday? What's the deal? Jake's got rules, Ben's out to steal. Bozo takes their spinning around. Flush it down, flush it down. Emo skater Ben with a devious grin. Jake rolls his eyes, lets out a sigh within. If rules had feelings, they'd probably cry. Ben's chaos just makes them fly. What you got Wednesday?
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about our friends at Miki Couture. This Mother's Day, give her more than just a gift. Give her a comfort she'll feel every day. Enjoy a special Mother's Day deal, 50% off regularly priced blankets with code ZONE50. Shop online at MikiCouture.com or simply drop by one of their fabulous locations. It is now time for What You Got Wednesday. If you're new to the show, Ben and I go head-to-head every single Wednesday in 2 5-selection drafts, one sports-related, one not. Then we throw it out on the Talk Snap for a vote. What happened last week, Christian?
Last week, best short athletes. Ben won 58-42. And best Las Vegas things, Jake won 75-25.
Wow.
That's my wheelhouse, though.
Okay.
I feel like I owned you in both those drafts.
Well, clearly no one else felt that way.
Not the short kings, apparently.
Yeah.
Or queens, because I did have Serena.
And I had Simone.
All right, what is today's sports-related topic, Christian?
Our sports draft today, you guys are going to pick the best Lakers and Thunder / Supersonics of all time.
Okay. The trick with this one is how Laker heavy will it be? I'm curious to see how many Sonics / Thunder actually.
Let me see how many I have. 1, 2, 3. I have 5. I go 5 and 5 here.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is there an automatic number one pick?
Yes, I think there is.
You
have the top pick here?
I do.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't, actually, but I do. All right. Give me Buck Johnson.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think Magic is the number one pick?
Oh, Irvin.
Yeah, his nickname was Buck.
Buck. No one's good. If you say, put Buck Johnson on there.
Irvin Buck Johnson.
Put Magic Johnson on there. No, put Buck on there. Just put Buck Johnson. Okay. I had him too. So, yeah, that's totally fair. Along those lines, I will go with the other probably greatest Laker of all time. I'll go with Kareem. Yeah, I think you don't think you're going wrong there either way.
Pretty sure Kareem gave Magic the nickname Buck.
Okay.
Young Buck.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think those are both. Yeah, those were the 1 and 2 on my board.
I've always liked
totally
Buck better than Magic.
Oh no, I think Magic's the greatest nickname of all time. Hard to beat.
All right, I'll go with Kobe.
Okay.
There was an NBA player named Alfonso Buck Johnson.
Yeah,
No, Irvin.
You're
Buck,
not drafting him?
Irvin Buck Johnson.
He played for Houston.
Houston's Buck Johnson. All right. Well, then we're going to be a little boring here. We're going Laker heavy, but rightfully so. And I'm going to go with Shaq. And I think Shaq was better than Kobe. I don't know. Some people don't think he had a better career with the Lakers than Kobe, and that's totally fair. Kobe won 5 titles with L.A., Shaq won 3. So I think that's completely reasonable.
Is it too early to take Nick Collison?
A little.
Let's see, Ben. Do I want to go with that? All right, I'm going to go with, Kevin Durant.
Okay.
I probably could have gotten him later, but whatever. Kevin Durant.
And I'll go with his contemporary, the better of the two, LeBron James.
LeBron as a Laker sucked, though.
Kind of. Didn't play his best basketball of his career with the Lakers. I think that's fair. That's why he didn't go number 1 overall. I think LeBron is better than all of these players we've drafted for his entire career, but we're talking about as a member of the Lakers. And he's not better than all these players as a member of the Lakers.
He sucks. I'll go with Wilt.
Okay. Did not have Wilt on my board.
Okay.
And
too bad?
No, it's fine. He won a title there. Absolutely deserve it. I will go with SGA. SGA is about to leap, I think, Kevin Durant in the all-time rankings this year. He's about to win his second MVP. He's about to win his second title. He's going to really rapidly start to redefine how we look at this era. In fact, I won't be surprised if he jumps Jokic in a lot of people's eyes very quickly and then starts knocking on that door of how quickly does he get to the conversation of top 10 players of all time. I think Shea is going to get there really, really quick.
I'm debating between 2 guards, Ben, but I'm going to go with Gary Payton.
Okay.
Hall of Famer.
The glove. With the Lakers or with the Sonics?
Oh, good call. I was thinking Sonics, Gary Payton. But,
okay.
But he's been on both sides.
He played, at least 1 year on the Karl Malone team.
No, it was only 1, I believe. He went to as many finals with the Lakers, though, as he did with the Sonics.
And then one with Miami. Hit a big shot in the fourth quarter of that one of their titles. So shout out the glove, Gary Payton. All right, I will go with, this is my last pick. I guess I'll go with, I'll go Ray Allen. Ray Allen got that Sonics team to the conference finals. We were talking about Rashard Lewis earlier in this show, and actually predated the 7 seconds or less Suns as a high-speed, super three-point heavy offense that helped shape the NBA, and Ray Allen was a major part of that. He left being dunk contest Ray Allen and became greatest three-point shooter on the planet, Ray Allen, in Seattle.
Was Ray Allen in the dunk contest?
Oh, yeah.
Did he win?
I don't believe so.
Do you remember? Well, Christian doesn't even know.
No,
who Ray
I
Allen
do
is.
not remember that, no.
All right.
1997 Slam Dunk Contest.
I wasn't even a thought at that point.
I don't even remember it. Ben's like, and how? Did my memory
Jay,
hold
That
out?
was Kobe Bryant's, the year Kobe Bryant won it.
Jake had the number 1 pick. He went Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Wilt Chamberlain, and Gary Payton. Ben went Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Ray Allen.
A lot of notables.
No James Harden?
No.
Jerry West?
I was going to take Jerry West, but
Russell
I decided
Westbrook.
to go Peyton instead. Well, I wasn't drafting Rusty.
Yeah, I know you
I
weren't.
wouldn't draft Rusty if we got to 10.
Kendrick Perkins?
Sean Kemp. Detlef Shrimp. Yeah. Some names.
All right, what is our not sports topic?
I don't even remember what inspired this, but we're going to go with best Farrelly brothers and Coen brothers movies.
Probably should have taken Elgin Baylor, one of us. But anyways, neither here nor there.
I really like this draft. Farrelly brothers or Coen brothers directed movies.
Okay.
And to be clear, is it directed only or produced?
Direct. I only picked directed movies, so.
Sure. All right. If I picked one that's just produced, you let me know.
I'll be fine. Yeah.
Is there an automatic number 1?
Am I one?
Yes.
Yes, I think there is.
Okay.
I think this might be the best movie of the 90s. Fargo is
Oh, Fargo's amazing.
a perfect movie. It's funny. It's horribly violent. It's well written. It's really tight.
The acting is amazing.
The acting is amazing. It really created some people. John C. Reilly was around, but he really broke through with this. We know Frances McDormand, how great she was, and she will show up again on this list. Have you seen Fargo, Christian?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad
I
you've
was going to
seen
say my mom hates it because she's from Minnesota. She thinks the accents are way overdone.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think they're spot on.
Is there a funnier part? Well, that movie's full of funny parts, but remember when she meets up with her old high school friend and he hits on her even though
Gary?
she's 8 minutes?
I think it's
she's
Gary.
like 8 months pregnant and he starts hitting on her? Mike Vrabel Rossini style?
Yeah. Just get
Too
to a
soon.
boat. Just get Gary to a boat.
Get Gary to a boat. What a great movie. I'm with you. I don't know if it would have been my number one pick because I do love this movie equally, if not a touch more, and that's The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
I'm not hating on your Fargo pick, though. But The Big Lebowski.
Oh, his name's Mike. His name's not Gary.
Is it Mike?
Who is Gary that I'm thinking of? Anyways, his name's Mike. Okay, I had it on my board. I had it down quite a bit lower. But no, it's an all-time rewatchable. It's a great throw-on. You don't have to watch the whole movie if you want to. If you want to sit down and watch the whole thing, you're going to have a great time. I think it gets funnier every time you watch it. I think it is
does?
a movie that really grows on you the more you watch it. First, there's not a whole lot of movies like it in history. So you watch it, and it's just, you kind of don't know what's going on. And I was like 15 when it came out, and everyone said to watch it, and I was certainly, some of the things went over my head. And now, as you get older, it just,
Philip Seymour Hoffman was amazing. Brant?
he's great in it. I mean, John Goodman's one of his best, if not his best.
All right.
All right, yeah, fully fair. And Bridges, who is one of our great actors of all time, I think that is his defining role of his career.
Oh, it certainly is.
All right, I will go with No Country. I think No Country is also basically a perfect movie and is very similar to Fargo in some of its themes, but it works. The theme works.
Honestly, I like Fargo way more.
So do I. That's why I picked it first, but I think No Country is one of the best movies of the last 25 years, so happy to have it.
All right, I'm going to get to our first Farrelly brothers,
Okay.
and I'm going to take Kingpin.
Okay, on my board. It's the right pick.
You talk about the perfect movie.
Yeah.
It might be Kingpin.
It is. It's a little long in some areas, but I was surprised as I was looking through my Farrelly Brothers movies how not beloved this movie is when, if you watch it, it is so hilarious.
We don't have a cow. We have a bull. I got to go brush my teeth. Woody Harrelson?
One of the great. It's not even a
Amazing.
cameo because Bill Murray is a character in the movie. It's not like he shows up for 10
no,
minutes.
but Ernie McCracken.
But his role is as good as he's ever been.
I've got 2 bowling movies on top, which I'm pretty stoked about. I got to tell you, every time I've gone bowling since I've seen Kingpin, my name on the screen has been Ernie McCracken.
Ernie McCracken. Well, he's insane.
Sometimes when I go to bed at night, Mr. Kraken is still there, and he's there when I get up in the morning, too. I butchered that line.
All right, I'll go Farrelly Brothers also, and I will go with Dumb and Dumber, which also the first time I saw it, I was just like, I don't get what's going on here. And every time I've watched it since, it's funnier and funnier and funnier, and obviously has a ton of local ties with how much of it's shot here in Salt Lake City, including right here on our property at the KSL building. So Dumb and Dumber is a classic. It's one of the great comedies of the last 50 years, 30 years, and it belongs on this list.
All right, I'm going to go back-to-back Farrelly and go There's Something About Mary, which is where I think that they did peak. I think it was a little downhill after Something About Mary.
That's very, very fair. I don't know if I have another one on
Saved
here
Matt Dillon's
from
career.
them. I was watching a movie last night called Heartburn, and I'm still thinking of Dumb and Dumber. I apologize, but their abilities to save people's careers, like Jeff Daniels was a little wayward. It was like a weird role for him to take.
Well,
But,
he wasn't a comedic actor.
Kind of reintroduced him though to
Yeah.
this entire generation of people. It was really
He had done Speed, right?
But I mean, spoiler, he dies in it. He's not the star of it by any means, but yeah, it's like
Shoot the Hostage.
he kind of
What a
reinvents
terrible
himself
movie.
as a totally new. You don't like Speed?
No.
Oh, I love Speed.
so bad.
Totally reinvents himself as this new pathway for him to stick around. And has done plenty of comedy since then. All right, I will go with. Wife will be mad at me if I don't take it. I'll just go with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
That's great.
Yeah,
It's The Odyssey.
yeah. Before the new movie, The Odyssey, coming out this year.
Is that going to be good?
It's Chris Nolan. He knows what he's doing, seemingly.
I liked it that there was a #1 album that accompanied the movie.
Yeah. It's fun. For some reason, it feels like it's aged a little poorly, not controversially. Just seems like people aren't as high on it as they were when it came out, but it was a revelation when it came out.
I'm a Dapper Dan man.
Yeah.
All right. We get into these drafts and I end up picking my personal favorites, which
fine.
usually means I lose. But this movie is way underrated. Burn After Reading.
Insane.
Hilarious.
Almost a weird, like, when I watch it, it feels like a throwaway Coen movie, if you can do that with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, like the two biggest stars on the planet at that time. They're like, yeah, we'll just have this little movie. Frances McDormand also.
It's so funny.
It might be Brad Pitt's funniest movie.
Right.
He is so funny in it. Yeah. Have you seen Burn After Reading, Christian?
I have not seen that one.
Very Coen-y. There's always three things going on. 3 different acts, and they're all introduced or all interacting with one another.
John Malkovich is great in that movie.
He is. Is this my last pick?
Yes.
All right, give me Raising Arizona, which I really, really love. Again, Nick Cage at his absolute best. Holly Hunter is just awesome in this movie. It's when the Coens hadn't quite figured out their ability to make huge movies. They were still making kind of small movies, and Raising Arizona's really tight as well and really, really, really good.
All right, I'm going to take maybe Jim Carrey's best movie, in my opinion.
No.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
It's not.
It's so
This movie stinks so bad.
It does
It's
not.
one of the worst movies.
Me, Myself, and Irene?
Yeah, horrible movie.
When he's running to chase the train and his nose is whistling? I lose it every time.
They had it at times. I don't think this is where they had it.
Oh, that is so... Yeah, I can't believe you're clowning that movie. That movie is so funny. When he changes into his normal personality and he has a chin surgery.
It has moments. I don't think it works altogether as a movie. Christian, anything you would have taken that didn't get picked?
I was holding out for Raising Arizona. I thought that was going to go under.
Have you seen all of these movies we talked about?
I've seen most of them.
Okay.
I have not seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou or
yeah.
Burn After Reading.
Okay.
I think I've seen everything else.
Barton Fink's really good, but nobody's heard of it.
Yeah.
Blood Simple's really good, but nobody's
I've
ever
never seen
heard
Miller's
of it.
Crossing. I'm not a Coen's brother completionist.
The
I should.
Hudsucker Proxy is amazing, but nobody's ever heard of
Yeah.
it.
I love Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I really love that movie.
I've honestly never seen
And
it.
it kind of just came out, I think, during COVID. It's a musical. It's like 5 shorts. You know, it's a bunch of little movies strung together. It's not a narrative. But I love watching it. It's a great thriller.
I'm just so happy you didn't pick Stuck on You. That neither one of us picked Stuck on You. That just makes me so
Greg
happy.
Kinnear and Matt Damon.
The vehicle where they're stuck together, they're Siamese twins.
I was literally talking about that movie yesterday, so it's really funny you brought that
With
up.
Cher.
Uh-huh.
Cher's their neighbor when they moved to California. It's the worst movie ever made.
And could have taken Inside Llewyn Davis, though. I think I like all these other movies better.
All right. Did we recap?
Ben had the number 1 pick. He went Fargo, No Country for Old Men, Dumb and Dumber, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and Raising Arizona. Jake went The Big Lebowski, Kingpin, There's Something About Mary, Burn After Reading, and Me, Myself, and Irene.
I can't believe you don't like that movie.
I should maybe give it another chance. Can you believe Meryl Streep is in Stuck on You? It's
Yes.
a weird cameo for Meryl.
She's been in lots of bad movies.
She has, yeah. She's been in a lot. She's not like a star in it. She's in, I think Greg Kinnear Has a Dream. He's part of Bonnie and Clyde, and she's Bonnie.
Yikes. All right, stay tuned. More Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the
I
KFSL
don't like
Sports
Greg
Zone.
Kinnear.
No crazy soundbite slips past these guys.
I came here for the same reason people go to the zoo.
This is another edition of the Audio Vault with Jake and Ben. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to be hanging out and about, Ben, at 511 Tactical. Don't just show up to Supercross, be part of the weekend. 511 is hosting a free event with custom Jeeps, a great crowd, and more. Coming up this Friday from 2 to 6. We're going to be there at the Salt Lake store, 369 West, 1830 South, hanging out with the good folks at 511 Tactical. Ben, it's time for the Audio Vault, the best sound of the day. Do we know where this happened?
Philadelphia,
PA. Mm-hmm. There was a traffic accident.
Well, it's a much bigger story than that, actually. Do we want to paint the
go
picture
ahead.
of the background story?
Go ahead.
A man stole a truck in Philadelphia and was on the run from police and ran a red light and hit another car and actually crashed through the fence at like a daycare, like a school, a daycare. He ended up breaking through there, and they ended up pulling out the guy, and he got caught, and he's obviously going to prison. But yeah, this happened yesterday. This was a big story. Scary.
So they interview a witness, and it's funny that the visual of this is funny because he's just eating an ice cream cone.
He's a character, and he's got his little what do they call those hats? I mean, it's like a crossing guard hat. Almost looks like the old police hat, and it's tilted sideways, so it's not wearing it a normal way. And he is going to town on what looks like a strawberry ice cream cone. Whatever
soft
reason,
serve.
soft serve, chocolate. Okay, he is eating this whole thing on camera during this interview, as if he has as if he's never seen the news before and wouldn't be like, let me just put this aside. Now he also mentions, and you hear here, it's a hot day, so he probably just wanted a little ice cream to feel a little better.
All right, so let's play.
I'm the crossing guard on 55th and King Session. When I tell you, he ran the light, T-boned the lady, I'm bobbing and weaving. I'm just thankful to be alive right now. Thank you, Jesus.
What did it sound like?
Bam! No, not to be funny. I swear, not to be funny. It happened that fast, and luckily, I'm alive.
How, do you know what time of day
I had
kids
to pull
are playing out there?
They was out there. They were in there. I had to pull a kid out. No, I had to pull, what's the name, nephew out.
So there were kids in there?
Yes.
So describe this for me. You hear the bang.
Bang. I don't know which way to go because he ends up in the schoolyard. Luckily, I wasn't on the corner. I'm in the shade slightly because it's an 82-degree day today.
And then what?
Crazy. I'm just thankful to be alive.
So you see this car on its side. Kids are screaming. What's going on?
I run sheeple. Then I grab a kid out because he's stuck franticing. Pull him out. Ain't nobody in there. Guy's in there. He's trapped in there. Then I run out, get myself together because my heart is boom, 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 boom.
No doubt.
Pulled him up out of there.
How was the kid? What,
He was shaking up, but I pulled him up out of there.
was he like under a piece of playground equipment? Or
Yeah, right up under there.
Wow.
No, I'm being honest.
No, I believe you. So tell me about this car. Did you see what happened to her?
Do a 360. I didn't know which way to go. Luckily I wasn't right there on the corner. I would have been trapped in the madness if you zoom in. I'm being honest.
What's going through your head, man?
Thank you, Jesus. That's what's going through my mind. Thank you, Jesus.
All right, man.
Being honest. Thank you, Mr. Softy.
He thanks Mr. Softy in the end, and you can hear it at the
Mr.
end.
Softy.
I'm telling you, he's going to town on this ice cream cone. He does not stop eating it.
It's a hot day.
83.
They have some humidity, which is a little different, but
Yeah, that stuff melts fast. You ever try to eat an ice cream cone in the humid weather?
until after the interview.
It's hot. That guy was amazing. You know, that was. Remember when that one dude was telling the story of that loud noise coming crash into his house or whatever? I don't know if you remember that. But anyway, my point is that some people are just gifted storytellers.
Yeah.
That guy's a gifted storyteller.
A hero saved a kid after he got pinned under whatever, if that's what happened. But a crossing guard. We see the crossing guards outside of our kids' school every day and wave to them, and they appreciate what they do. And then sometimes you really do have big responsibilities. So shout out to Mr. Softy.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez.
Hope he gets all the ice cream in the world.
Don't steal cars.
Don't crash into playgrounds, more importantly than anything. But yeah, also don't steal cars.
Buy cars.
You got to buy a car. I'm excited for you. I'll get you an ice cream. You
I'm
like
not.
soft serve?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even that big into sweets, but I wouldn't say no to some soft serve.
Okay.
I just
Christian,
like the
soft serve?
vanilla.
Not my first choice.
I prefer soft serve over a scoop myself.
Christian doesn't like soft serve ice cream?
That's
I
not
told
what I said.
we did, an hour ago, we did psychopath or what? And we got it.
Yeah, well, we didn't even get to that payoff. We're going to have to get to that.
Because Diana Rossini got a boat, but we got to get psychopath or what?
I'd take a scoop over soft serve.
Really? That's weird.
No, I'd go soft serve.
Yeah.
Update to the boat story.
Uh-huh.
Not only pregnant, 7 months pregnant.
Oh, showing.
Well, yeah, do the math.
Not
it was
just
in
showing.
June. It was in June, and then it said later that summer.
7 months pregnant that's not like just entered the second trimester and you can barely see it.
You know what it is it's true love.
He really
Because-
likes her.
Oh, no, the other way around. Was your wife getting on a boat 7 months pregnant?
No.
No.
I'm not Mike Vrabel, but maybe she would for Mike Vrabel. I don't know.
Well, yeah, clearly she would. She loves Mike because she's dealing with the nausea and the heartburn already. And she's like, yeah, I got to see you, Mike.
Let's get on a boat.
If a boat is our only option, let's get on a boat.
2-3 hour boat tour.
Anyways, shout out to the crossing guards.
All right, stay tuned. Live at 5 coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.